he was out there in Colorado for several months working directly with the Colorado Project. We've done quite a few oral histories. Of course, we've interviewed ufologists too, like Ray Fowler, and we interviewed, like I said, Captain William Nash, airline pilot, and we've interviewed people in all walks of, or all many different aspects of ufology, from investigators to witnesses to officials that were involved in investigations, and scientists. And we interviewed people at Wet Sands. So we've, and like I say, we've done, I was interviewed, and Barry Greenwood was interviewed. So we have really tried to get as many people on record as we could. Many of the people we interviewed are no longer with us, unfortunately.
Well, did Richard Dolan know about you?
Who?
Richard Dolan, historian. You ever heard of Richard Dolan? Maybe not.
Yeah, I know Richard Dolan. Yes, I've met him.
Oh, okay, he's a historian, wrote a few books, but so you do know of him?
Yes.
Okay, he's a younger whippersnapper, huh? A lot younger. You got started in '67. I don't know when he came along. I guess in the '90s, late '90s or something. Well, Jan.
We did interview Richard Hastings, who wrote UFOs and Nukes. He was one man that we interviewed.
Well, would you like me to include you as a historian? Or how
that's what
you...
I feel. That's what I feel. My main contribution is.
Yes,
trying
historian in ufology. You just specialize in ufology. Now, what about alienology? Do you have anything historically you can share with us tonight on aliens or CE5 contact or anything that, like J. Allen? I met J. Allen Hynek in an airplane somewhere, I think it was Chicago O'Hare, thereabouts, when before he died. And he was interested in me because of my alien ET experiences in White Sands, and I was reading a Ruth Montgomery book, Aliens Among Us, so he asked me if I believed in that. So there's a lot in my world of investigators and in the ufology business that I was an investigator, but I was for, the country or for our government or out of country, and then I wanted to join the military. But I did get to meet J. Allen Hynek. And did you meet him or work with CUFOs? Because I heard you mention there were some people in one of your groups there around Chicago. Tell us what you know about that, Jan. Anything?
Well,
Alien
I didn't meet Hynek because I was overseas during.
Okay.
But he passed away. But Dr. Willie Smith, he got some of Hynek's. What happened with Smith and Hynek, they put together what they called the UNICAT.
How do you spell that? UNICAT. Okay, now what is that?
That's supposed to be, you've heard of the UFOcat, which is just listings of sightings. The UNICAT is supposed to be a listing of quality sightings. And Heine, as Dr. Smith told me, he said, well, he started it, but then Heine took it over. And Willie said, I wrote the program for it, and Heine told me which cases to put in there.
Oh, okay. So is it Dr. William Smith? Is he still alive or is he passed?
Willie Smith, he has since passed away.
My goodness. Well, we can't get all this stuff in our UFO Association fast enough.
I have the case files from the UNICAT. In fact, I have the computer. I have printouts of the computer UNICAT. So that will be preserved. I think I got about half of the case files scanned, so they're digitized now.
Wow! Congratulations on that. We need to give you an award just for that, don't we? You're up north, though. You're up in Connecticut, right?
Right. So I've got about 5,000 files, and like I said, about 2,500 of them are case files, actual cases. The others are articles and government documents. I've got a lot of. I have Robert Todd's. I have. Robert Todd gave his files to Kufos, and then he stopped for a while, and he started up again, and he gave the files he had accumulated to Ray Fowler, and then he stopped and he started up again, and he gave those files to Barry Greenwood, and the files from Todd's last years he gave to me. So now they're all together.
Now, did you say he gave some to George Filer's files? Some to Barry Greenwood?
I haven't worked with Filer at all.
Oh, you haven't? Okay.
No, I have.
UNICAT, I'll just say UNICAT, C.G. and Aldrich, Barry Greenwood is UNICAT. I can make a page for it and just tell them to see you.
So we, like I said, I'm scanning these files, and some of them are quite extensive. I mean, some of these cases run into a couple hundred pages.
How do you want to be contacted on that UNICAT UFO file? You got an email that you can, in case somebody's listening to you tonight that would like to know more? I can put Jan Aldrich, UNICAT UFO files on the UFO Association, and then put contact you at email, Gmail, or wherever you receive your mails.
Okay, it's Project 1947, all one word, at earthlink.net.
1947 at Earthling or Earth what?
Earthlink.
Okay, EARTHLINK.net.
Right.
Earthlink. Okay, Project 1947 as in the year, 1947
right.
at earthlink.net. I'll update that. Okay, Jan Aldrich, folks, a great ufologist, UFO researcher, investigator, and was recommended by Dr. Bruce Maccabee, our plank owner for our ACO club, since 2012 when we started all this, in 2014 for Alien Contact Organization. But we've had the UFO Association back to Stanton Friedman, Don Berliner, and me traveling around, coming back into country. But I got started in 1967, but nobody's known who I was. But I'm glad I got this mission as ACIR. And when all the government groups went out, they had me hold the energy and the interest for our Allied Command Intergalactic Relations, or ACIR. And it was for all the different parts of the government to work together. So now Ahmad's joined me, Thomas R. Becker, a former prior Navy, and Jan Aldrich has been sharing with us. We had a slow start today. We were expecting Dr. Bruce Maccabee, so I hope he's okay. We did try to call him and get in, but Jan Aldrich was recommended by him. And Jan, tell us more about how you got to know Bruce or anybody else that is in your position as a historian or I guess ufologist. If you study ufology, does in your mind's eye, because you're with the old group, I don't know if you'd say you were Men in Black, but you're definitely a veteran like Med and I was a woman in black for sure. But how do you describe yourself? Do you call yourself a ufologist? And I know you're a historian because you've got and you're an archivist because you've got this great project, 1947, and all you've told me thus far. But were you a Man in Black at any time, or were you chasing aliens or anything like that?
Well, I spent a lot of time chasing the information in libraries, so that's I feel like I'm the one that does a lot of the grunt work.
I know the feeling.
Yeah, so scanning all these files, that's grunt work. Let me tell you, because you got to prepare them, and a lot of cases, it's not just sheets of paper. There's clippings, different size clippings, and sometimes there's all kinds of notes in these case files. And they're all different sizes, so you have to mount them on pieces of paper so they'll go through there. And then sometimes there's photographs and things like that.
So MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, and I was part of that back in the 60s, but we got started, I thought, at NASA because some people came down, and maybe it was the Lawrences, a couple, but it was before they had the actual MUFON. And 1967, and then we met 68 and 69 at a man's house that had a whole library of books outside of NASA, and we had to have secret meetings because some of the astronauts were coming. But then another man came down, and they started something in Texas. I can't remember the name of it, but we were meeting outside of NASA, so I know we got started with NASA before MUFON. So Mutual UFO Network, I thought the Lawrences in Wisconsin gave their files to, not NICAP.
No, the APRO
you remember the history?
The APRO files are lost.
Oh, no.
So,
no.
But we do have from pre-47 to December 1956, we have a microfilm that was made of their files.
Oh, no. All right. Well, that was APRA, the Lawrences, L-O, I'm just making them a page, is Z, isn't it? Is what Dr. Bruce said, Lawrenson files, APRA.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to put Lawrenson files.
But there does exist a microfilm of the early files, like I say, from before 1947 to December 1956. Those files are in microfilm, and we have that one microfilm.
On microfilm. Okay, I'm putting that right now while you say it live. Now, I'm making them a page, at least, on UFO Association. Lawrenson, L-O-R-E-N-Z-E-N files, APRO. I'm going to put C. Jan Aldrich for early files prior to 1947 to 1956 on microfilm. That's all I can do right now. That's getting it from you, the horse's mouth, because they're no longer alive, right?
Right. So
that couple.
Yeah, there are. We think we know who has them, but they don't want to give them up.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought so because that's sort of what I had heard, but that was a long, long, long time ago. And that's when I guess they were making APRO, and then the gentleman, 2 or 3 people came in from MUFON. I think we got that here from Elena Scott. Dr. Elena Scott, but she came in the 80s. So when did you ever